Okay, are we ready? Yes. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna do Get Ready With Me while I talk about something a little serious. But don't worry, I'm still doing my makeup and we're not gonna cry. So today's topic is knowing when to leave. And if I look away, that's because my mirror is here, my camera is here. So today's topic, knowing when to leave. I feel like this is one of those life skills that nobody teaches you. Like people teach you how to start, like start a career, start a relationship, start a project, but no one really teaches you when to leave. And I think knowing when to leave is actually one of the most important skills in life. So today I want to talk about two areas, career and love. Also, if you guys haven't noticed, my nose is stuffy right now. I hope it's not too distracting, but... Okay, as we go in with our foundation, I want to start talking about career. I think one of the easiest way to know if something is actually simple. Just look around you. Look at your coworkers and ask yourself one question. Do I want to be a part of these people? Now, work is not supposed to be a Disneyland. You're not expected to love everybody. And some days will be hard. Some coworkers will annoy you, and that's normal. But aside from that, when you look around, do you feel okay being a part of that group? You don't have to love them, but you should at least think, yeah, these are decent people. But if you look around and think, I hate being a part of this group, and that's a sign. I think that's a big sign. Now, of course, you should consider other things too. For example, pay. Is the pay fair? Are you learning useful skills? Is the job good for your resume? Are the working hours reasonable? Does the job match the job description? Is there growth potential? All those things matter, but let's say everything looked fine on paper and you got the job you wanted. Your responsibilities match the job description. The job is not harming your resume. And actually, it looks really good on your resume. But still, you're not excited to do well. Just something feels off. And very often, the reason is the people around you. And when it comes to that, I think there are two main situations. Situation one, you don't like them. Situation two, you are not like them. I think the first one is pretty simple. You just don't like them. That's it. You don't like their values. You don't like their attitude. You don't like the way they treat people. And here's the uncomfortable part. When you are in that workplace, you are part of that group, whether you like it or not. Sometimes you look at yourself in a third-person perspective and think, wait, am I one of them? And suddenly you feel a little embarrassed, you cringe a little, and that's not a good feeling. Because your workplace becomes a part of your identity. If the group makes you feel ashamed of yourself, that's a sign. Second situation is a little more complicated. It's not you dislike them, you're just not like them. Let me share my story. So I did a post-bag in studio art in Chicago. It was one of the biggest and most well-known art schools in the world. And there were so many amazing artists, like genius level artists. Honestly, I was very proud to be there. I felt very lucky. But at the same time, I couldn't, shake this feeling. Deep down, I knew I'm not like them. We were polite, we were friendly, but at the end of the day, I didn't really make close friends. And sometimes that just happens. You respect them, they respect you, but you just belong to a different world. It's like you're invited to a party where everyone is nice, but you still feel like you came to a wrong party. So now we have two situations. You don't like them, and you are not like them. So the question now might be, do I need to leave? And I personally think, yes, you need to leave. But another important question we need to answer is, do we need to leave right now? And no, I don't think so. That does not mean you need to leave right away. I think this is very important. Real life is not a movie. You can't just dramatically quit your job on Monday morning. I think once you realize that you're not going to stay forever, the next step is planning. You need to ask yourself, when should I leave? And that's a different question. Maybe you stay 6 more months, maybe you stay 2 more months, maybe you stay until you learn the skill you need to move on to the next position. And while you're there, you just quietly build your exit plan. And here's another controversial question. You don't need to tell your coworkers the truth. You don't need to say, oh, by the way, I'm planning my escape. I'm planning to leave here in 2 months. You don't have to. Let them believe you will work there forever. Why not? At the end of the day, they are also thinking about their own lives. You guys are colleagues, not life partners. Okay, as I'm contouring my face with the powder contour, let's talk about love now. I think this one is harder, I mean. Because I think work is a little more logical. You can evaluate the salary, the people, and the opportunities. But love is, I don't know, a little more emotional. And when it comes to emotions, it's not like yes or no. You can't just sit down and make a pros and cons list. I mean, you can. We've all done that. Like, I've done it, you've done it, we've all done it. But I think the question is, when do you know when to leave a relationship? Because I think we all know when we need to leave. It's not about do we know if we need to leave this relationship or not. It's more about when do we leave the relationship. Here's the funny thing. When I was younger, every time I started a relationship, I was like, this is the one. I was like a Disney princess. Every relationship was forever. But as you grow older, I think you become a little more casual with uncertainty. Not careless. I'm not saying I date randomly. I don't. But I'm more aware that sometimes you can start a relationship without knowing if it will last. And maybe both people know it. Maybe you care about each other, you enjoy spending time together, but deep down, you know this might not be permanent. And I think strangely, that doesn't always make it meaningless. Sometimes it just means two people belong to a different future. But going back to the main question, when do we know when to leave? It's always nerve-wracking to draw eyebrows. Honestly, I don't expect them to be twins, just be sisters. And I think, like as I mentioned earlier, I think we all know when to leave. When we start watching all those videos, like how to know if it's the right relationship, like signs you should leave your partner, or what real love looks like. Why do we watch all those videos? Because we're questioning about our current relationships. Deep down, we already know something is wrong. Sometimes the feeling comes slowly, builds up over time, but sometimes it just suddenly comes like a little pang in the chest. And very often, early in the relationship, a small voice inside us always knows this might not last. But as I mentioned, even if it will not last permanent, that doesn't mean it's meaningless. You always have something to learn from that person. And sometimes some people are just for season, and that doesn't mean, again, it's meaningless. So I think the real question is not whether we know we should leave this relationship or not, but the question is, when do we act? Some people leave quickly, some people will wait years. And honestly, is there a perfect answer? I don't think so. And breakup always hurt. I mean, it sucks. It's awful. But the pain is different when the decision is yours. When you truly decide in your mind, okay, I'm walking away. We came to the end, I'm walking away. The pain becomes calmer. I wouldn't say smaller, but it becomes calmer. And here's the interesting part. Even if your partner is the one who ended the relationship, you still need to make the decision inside your mind. You need to say to yourself, okay, I'm leaving this person too. I'm walking away. And if you don't do that, I think the pain drags forever because part of us is still standing there emotionally. Like still waiting, still hoping. Of course, I'm speaking from my experience. Okay, now we're gonna do my eyes. When I do my eyes, I need to focus. I might not speak, but give me 1 second. So for career, I think I've found at least a temporary role for myself. Just look around and ask, do I belong here? Not, is this perfect? Is this a perfect job? Not, do I love everything about here at this company? But just, do I belong here? If the answer is no, then maybe that's something you pay attention to. But when it comes to love, I honestly don't have an answer to it. Like, you might have noticed I was mumbling, jumbling, I was everywhere, and I don't have a clear answer yet. I just wanted to share where I am currently. I think I'm still learning that part of life. So if you have any thoughts, experience, or disagreements, we can always agree to disagree. Leave them in the comment. I'd love to hear what you think. Today's makeup done. What do you guys think? I'll see you guys next week.